Have you ever wondered how a chatbot really gets what you're saying? I mean, not just recognizing the words, but understanding the meaning behind them? Well, today, we're going to break down the one single revolutionary idea that makes it all happen.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we have to start where the AI researchers did, with a simple sentence puzzle. It's something you and I solve in a split second, but for a machine, believe me, it's a huge challenge.
Okay, take a look at this sentence. It's totally straightforward for us, right? We know exactly what bank means here. But for a computer, that one word is a trap. It has all these different meanings, and the machine has absolutely no clue which one to pick.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. How does an AI learn to see the difference between a financial building and the side of a river? The answer is all about context, and the way it learns is just brilliant. Let's dive in. The solution is this incredibly elegant and powerful concept that just completely changed the game for AI. It's a little thing called attention. The attention mechanism, you can think of it like a superpower we give to AI models. It lets them focus on specific parts of a sentence that are most relevant for understanding another part, kind of like how our own brains pay attention to the important clues when someone's talking to us. So, let's go back to our sentence. With this attention superpower, the model learns that the word bank isn't just floating there by itself. It scans the other words for clues, and bingo, the word withdraw is a massive clue. It practically screams financial institution. The model learns to link them, giving that connection a really high attention score.
And what's really cool is how these connections build on each other. The model also links bank and money, which makes the financial context even stronger. So now, with these super high attention scores tying it to both withdraw and money, the whole idea of a riverbank just gets pushed completely out of the picture.
And it's not just for figuring out what words mean. Attention also helps the AI understand the sentence's grammar and structure. For instance, it connects the subject I to the verb went, so it knows exactly who is doing the action. It's building this whole interconnected map of the sentence's meaning.
This quote from the source material really hits the nail on the head. See, older AI models had to process a sentence one word at a time. But attention lets the model look at the entire sentence all at once, weighing every word against every other word. It's how it builds such a deep and nuanced understanding.
Okay, so let's pop the hood for a second and see how this thing actually works. But don't worry, we're going to use a really simple analogy that'll make it all crystal clear.
I want you to imagine that every word in a sentence is part of a tiny pop-up library. The attention mechanism's job is to figure out which books, or which other words, are the most relevant to the word it's currently looking at. And it does this using three key things. First up, you've got the query. For every single word, like bank, the model creates a query. The best way to think of it is the word itself raising its hand and asking a question, like, "Hey everyone, which of you can help explain what I mean in this context?" Then you have the key. Every other word in the sentence has one of these. You can think of it like a label on a library shelf or a sign that says, "Hey, I'm about money," or "Over here, I'm an action word." The model's whole job is to match the query from bank with the most relevant keys from all the other words. And finally, there's the value. Once the query from our word bank finds a really strong match with the key from, say, withdraw, it gets to retrieve the value of withdraw. And that value is the good stuff. It's the actual meaning, the substance that gets sent back to help define bank as the place you get cash.
So this all comes together in this really neat four-step dance. First, the model generates a query, key, and value for every single word. Then it calculates scores based on how well each word's query matches up with every other word's key. Third, it uses some clever math to turn those raw scores into percentages. Those are the attention weights. So withdraw might get, say, 60% of the attention from bank, while I might only get 5%. And finally, it blends the meanings, the values of all the other words together based on those percentages. The result, a brand new, totally context-rich meaning for every word in that sentence.
Okay, so now that we've got a feel for how it works, let's zoom out. Why was this one idea such a game changer? Why did it basically change everything in the world of AI?
Well, before attention, AI models called RNNs had this huge problem. They read text one word at a time, kind of like a person trying to read a 1,000-page book and remember every single detail from chapter 1. They would often forget crucial stuff from the beginning of a long sentence. Attention fixed all that because it sees the entire sentence at once. It has a bird's-eye view, so it can instantly connect the very last word to the very first. It's just brilliant at understanding the bigger picture.
And get this. This idea of focusing on what's relevant is so powerful, it's not just for understanding language anymore. The same core principle is now a key ingredient in models that generate images, create music, you name it. It's become this universal tool for making sense of complex data.
For example, take a model like Pixel CNN. It actually generates images one single pixel at a time. Now, to decide what the next pixel should be, it uses a form of attention. It forces itself to look only at the pixels it has already drawn. It's kind of like an artist stepping back to look at their canvas before making that next brushstroke, just to make sure it all fits together perfectly.
So, here's the bottom line. The attention mechanism is what gives AI a much more flexible, almost human-like way of understanding context. It's not about memorizing a bunch of rigid rules, it's about learning, on the fly, how to weigh the importance of different pieces of information, just like we do.
Which kind of leaves us with this fascinating final thought. We spent all this time talking about how we're teaching machines to pay attention to what matters. It really makes you wonder, in our own lives, with all the information flying at us all the time, what are we paying attention to?